Hello and welcome to another edition of Business Africa. I am Afolake Oiloyi. Coming up, Oxfam report shows income inequality continues to grow. Ghana's bamboo bikes support sustainable change. And in Angola, we take a look at Lorenzo's forced economic reforms. More than 80% of all the wealth generated last year globally flowed into the coffers of the richest 1%, an Oxfam report has revealed. The report says last year saw the biggest increase in billionaires in history, widening the gap between the rich and the poor even more. The research also shows that the 3.7 billion individuals who make up the poorest half of the global population saw their wealth flatline in 2017, something the group of charities described as unacceptable and unsustainable. But is an increase in billionaire wealth indeed not good for all? We'll find out the answers from Francine Mukazi from the International Institute for Sustainable Development, right after this report.
The gap between the rich and the poor continues to grow in the world. International charity Oxfam is calling on governments to end extreme wealth and further intervene in the business of wealth-producing entrepreneurs to reduce inequality. In its recent report, the British NGO indicates that 50% of the 7 billion inhabitants of the world are poor, and that between 1980 and 2016, they shared 13% of the world's income. A figure which betrays the precariousness of employment and especially low wages, which gives a character to slavery in the current labor market, a situation which has resulted to unemployment, especially for about 260 million youths across the world without any qualifying training. 1/3 are girls. This reality concerns poor countries and the so-called developing countries. Oxfam claims that the billionaire group saw its wealth surge by $762 billion, which is ostensibly enough to end extreme poverty 7 times over.
Joining us from Paris, France, to speak more on this report is Picat Francine Mukazi, a parliamentary affairs advisor from the International Institute for Sustainable Development. Welcome to the program.
Merci.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Oxfam report shows income inequality continues to grow. What specific factors are pushing this gap far wider, and why is the increase in billionaire wealth not good for all, especially in Africa?
I say that the reason for these inequalities is that one part of the population was able to benefit from wealth at the expense of another. A large distribution could not be made at the level of the population. It is this aspect that we're trying to draw attention so that there is a better distribution to benefit the population, hence contributing to the fight against poverty. From my point of view, we all seek to produce more to lift our people out of poverty, to ensure that there is less famine, less poverty, and a better opportunity for people to live and enjoy this wealth. But as long as the distribution does not take place, and as long as it's only distributed to the category of people, unfortunately, it is a task on which we must make efforts. Growth in Africa is certain, and it must benefit everyone. And this is a job that must be done within the legal framework, and must also be able to increase the level of wages and well-being of our people.
The US and other world organizations have spent billions of dollars on welfare, and this has not eliminated poverty. How can we be sure that Oxfam's recommendation will work for wealth redistribution?
It's not just a question of redistribution, but also of equity. We cannot say that wealth benefits only one part of the population, while the other part struggles to survive, since it is not even a question of living, but surviving. The aim is to take into account that this distribution, if it is done in a more or less correct way, can contribute to what we are all struggling to do, which is reduce poverty. For this to happen, people must be paid more than just a salary to survive, but also to be able to truly live and enjoy our wealth. Because it is our wealth that allows just some of us to monopolize the goods that we share more.
The report also featured gender inequality. How is it linked to income inequality in Africa?
The particularity of the woman's role is quite well understood. For example, women and the work they produce are generally not paid or even paid less than men. These inequalities must therefore also be taken into account, since it is a proposal to be able to limit discrimination against this part of the population. The fact of being able to redistribute also means that this population is neglected. So as I said, the majority of the work done by women is not paid.
Thank you very much for your input. We're taking a break, and when we come back, we'll find out how Ghana's unprecedented bamboo bikes are addressing social and economic challenges in the country.